around because you might learn some things about how we do stuff, both good and bad. So I appreciate you all hopping in here and hanging out with me. So let's talk about. I want to start with justification. This is a very common problem I hear almost on a regular basis from contractors, like almost daily. If you followed me for more than a minute, you've heard me talk about charging for doing estimates or consultations. No longer doing free estimates anymore. I think most people are on board with that. Most people are like the idea of not doing free estimates, because if you've been in business for more than like 6 months and you've done, you know 20, 30, 50 free estimates, you quickly know like how much of a waste of a time it is, because it truly is a waste of a time. You get the people that are more old school who say things like, it's just the cost of doing business, Brad. You just factor it into your overhead and then that's it. That's just the cost of doing business. And it, I mean, yes, you can look at it like that. You can look at it like a cost of doing business. But why would you do something that is completely avoidable? So if there was no other way of doing it, then I could say, yeah, that makes sense. It's a cost of doing business. That's just how you do it. But when there's actually proof that there is a better way to do it, why on earth would you not do that? And that's the mind boggling part. But people want to argue that, say, it doesn't work or it's just a cost of doing business. And my response usually when I hear that is, so what you're saying is you penalize the good clients to make up for the bad clients, because that's exactly what you're doing. If you're factoring in, let's say, 5 free estimates a week that you never get, and you're averaging 2 hours per estimate, right? That's 10 hours a week that you're wasting plus gas and all the resources and stuff, right? So if I could factor that in and put a dollar amount to it, and let's say it's costing me, uh, you know, $500 a week, which is kind of high, but let's just say it is. So then what I would need to do is factor $500 a week into my overhead, which is going to increase my cost to run my business. And therefore, I can spread that out amongst all my good clients, make them pay for my ignorance or my lack of wanting to change. Because really, at the end of the day, what this boils down to is that people don't like to change. They just don't. Most of us don't like to change. And the older we get, the less change that we want to make. We want comfort. We want things to be easy and comfortable, and we just don't like change. No matter how much people say they're open minded, they're not. The overwhelming majority of people are not open minded. Even myself, I am open minded, I still hold on to certain things that I don't want to change. And this can you could be very open minded about one thing in your life and be very closed minded about something else. But we tend to think that we're open minded across the board, which usually is not the case. Okay. But this idea that you have to keep doing it because it's just a cost of doing business, really what you're saying is that I don't want to learn how to do anything different. I'm set in my ways. That's just how I do it, and I'm not open to learning any new way of doing things. That's just what it is. A couple comments came in. Somebody on Facebook says that never happens. Unfortunately, you never get paid for the estimates. See, this, I don't know who you are because it's you're not showing up. Your name's not showing up on Facebook. But you're exactly who I'm talking to. It's not true. It is 100% not true. If you do it correctly, if you do it incorrectly, you will not get paid for doing estimates. And this is the part I'm talking about. Like, we would rather die on the hill of this doesn't work because I've tried one way of doing it, right? I've tried it one time, Brad, and it doesn't work. I mean, you tell me all the time it works, but I tried it one time and it doesn't work. That's BS. Try it 15 different ways. Try it 100 different ways and then tell me it doesn't work. But that's not what happens. Most of the time, people say that won't work, yet they've never actually tried it. It's just it's a theory they have that'll never work. It'll never work. Well, have you actually tried it? No, I haven't tried it because I know it won't work. Come on, guys, seriously. If you've never tried something, you can't say it doesn't work. And just because you have tried it doesn't mean you did it the correct way. Yeah, I mean, I don't know who you are because it doesn't say your name. But if you do it the wrong way, it won't work. I can guarantee you it won't work. I promise. So the question here is what is the correct way to doing it, right? And I can't go into every single detail on this live. Plus I'd be shooting myself in the foot because this is literally what I teach in my coaching is how to do this effectively. But I can share with you the main things that you're getting wrong. And one of the things that people get wrong, which is the main thing I want to talk about today, is we try to justify it. Now, I have a new client who just joined. He may be watching, I don't know, and he's taking some of the things that I've said in the past for free. He's been applying it. He joined the Profit Club last week. He's gung ho. He's ready to get going. And he had a client that he tried some of these things out on, didn't go exactly the way that he wanted to. Had a conversation with him this morning to give him some pointers because he's got a follow-up call. And this is this is very, very typical. Like this type of conversation that I'm talking about is very, very typical. Whenever I have new contractors trying this new thing, and most of the time it's people that are trying it, through the freeway. They want the freemium access instead of paying somebody to learn how to do it the right way. But even with the freemium access, you can still do this correctly. And the main thing that I see wrong is that people try to justify charging for the estimate. Now, here's an exercise I want you guys to do. In your life, from when you were born until now, remember back, and I want you guys to comment in the chat. When is the most common situation? When's the most common situation to where you have to justify what you were doing? Just put it in the chat. Just think back. Don't think too hard on this. Just in general, in your whole life, when did you have to justify something that you were doing? I'll give you guys a second to answer while I look through the chats. Yeah, somebody said, I can say my boss hasn't left the office in 15 years. Time is money. That's right. Yeah, the Amazing Jay on TikTok says when you're doing something wrong. Facebook user says when you're doing something wrong. Exactly. The natural disposition for human beings when we justify something, it's because we either were caught doing something wrong or we feel like we did something wrong. A lot of times, our spouse or employees or whatever, they may say something and we take it the wrong way. We take it like we're being accused, right, of doing something. And so we automatically try to justify it. So when you try to justify charging for consultations or charging for estimates to your clients, you immediately look guilty because that's how everyone thinks. Everyone thinks that justification is the result of being guilty. So when you try to justify it, you're immediately making yourself guilty, which actually lowers the confidence level they have in you. And this is not just for estimates, guys. When someone says, why don't you break down your pricing on your estimates? And you get all defensive and you try to say things like, well, we don't, the price is this to do it and the price isn't. Or if you're trying to like get on the heels and you get all defensive, it makes you look even more guilty. So no matter what it is you're doing, stop trying to justify what you do. Now, if someone asks you directly a specific question, what am I getting out of, this consultation that you're doing? You're charging me $300. What exactly do I get for the $300? Then yeah, you can explain what you're getting. But if I say, hey, to come out there, it's $200. $200, that's a lot of money. Why do you charge $200? Well, because I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be spending all kinds of time with you, and I'm going to be doing the estimate. I'm going to be, giving samples, and I'm going to be doing this, and it takes a lot of my time and gas and insurance and overhead, and there's blah 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 blah, and you start justifying it, then you look guilty, and you actually seem like you're just trying to rip somebody off. So when you deliver this, you have to be extremely confident. I posted a post in my free group, Facebook group, this morning, just as an example, an illustration of, if you're walking down the street, mind your own business, and a cop comes over and says, "Hey, what are you doing out here?" I wanted to go for a walk. Why'd you want to go for a walk? I mean, I had stuff on my mind. I needed to clear my head. What's going on? Like, you start justifying, and you're not confident in your delivery. Somebody says on Facebook, when you're confident or when you're not confident. Yeah. So same situation. You're walking down the street. Cop comes over. Hey, what are you doing? I'm going for a walk, man. It's a nice day out. It's going for a walk. But you're confident in your delivery, and you keep walking. He's going to be like, all right, makes sense. Right? Like, that's a very basic example. So what is of value to the prospect to you, giving them your time and presence? What is of value to the prospect to you, giving them your time? I don't know what you mean on that. Comments on here. Amazing J. We charge $275 consultation and design fee. For that, our customers get an in-home consultation and print for your project. When they ask, I'm not telling them necessarily what's of value to them. I'm not fully understanding what you mean on Facebook. Like, I'm not telling them, oh yeah, well yeah, you don't want to say, well, I'm coming out there and spending my time. They say, what do I get for that? Well, we're going to do an actual in-home consultation. We're going to answer any questions that you have about the project, and I'm going to give you a detailed estimate, as well as if you do designs, maybe you don't, as well as a 3D design. All that's included in the design consultation, or all that's included in the consultation, or whatever it is. There's multiple ways you can set this up, depending on what you do and what your business is, right? Some people do designs on every single project because they use the designs for the productivity side. Some people do designs only if the client wants a design. So depending on how you have things set up, if you always do a design, no matter what, then it's just part of it, right? It's $1,500. We do a design, a design consultation. We'll come out there. We'll give you a 3D design of your project. We're going to pick out the samples, and I give you a detailed estimate of what what the project's going to cost. That's what's included. It's non-negotiable. Well, we don't need a design. Well, we do the design for ourselves, so it is a requirement for us. Oh, well, we already have a design. My son's taken architectural drawing at school, and he did a design for us. I think that's great. We'll definitely can use that as an inspiration. But for our process, for how we do things, we have to have a 3D design done by our in-house designer. That's how we ensure that the project is done exactly to spec. Right? It's a matter of fact. It's non-negotiable. This is how we do things. If you want to hire us, this is how we do things. And it's a non-negotiable. If you have a problem with that, I understand. Maybe we can work through that if you're open to it. But if you're not open to it, then the conversation's over, and I have 3 more phone calls to make. Have a nice day. Like, that's the position that you need to have when you're talking to people, even if you haven't had a lead in a month, and if you don't sell this job, your house is going to foreclose next week. Like, that is the position you need to come from. Is it easy? Hell no, it's not easy. It's freaking hard as hell to do that when you're in a desperate position. But when you're willing to break your own protocols anytime someone challenges you on them, then you really don't stand for anything. You really don't have protocols. You're just floating in the wind, responding and reacting. And you really don't own a business if that's the case. If you always change it every time you talk to someone, then you don't really have a business that's repeatable and scalable, regardless if you want to scale or not. Like, if you're a one man show and you want to hire people, but you always change the way you do things every time you talk to a client, you're going to struggle to have a business, because even when you hire employees, it's the same way every time. Philip, I didn't do 3D designs very often. I maybe on 3 projects I did a 3D design. I just, back then I used Google SketchUp. I just did it on Google SketchUp. I didn't do designs for every project. And most of the time we were doing bathrooms. Like, we did mostly bathrooms, did a few kitchens, but mostly bathrooms. And there wasn't really a design needed for the bathroom. The kitchen, my cabinet supplier would give me a 2020 design that we would go off of for the cabinet layout. But beyond that, we didn't make designs because it wasn't required for me. It wasn't part of my process. If I was doing like really high end types of projects, $50,000-$60,000 bathrooms, then I would probably have a design on every single one. Chief Architect, I know a lot of people use Chief Architect, though. That's a very popular one for designs. So, justification. You don't need to justify why you do these things. It's just how we do them. Can I provide the materials? No, you can't. This is how we do it. This is how we control the outcome. Well, my uncle is a plumber. Can we use him? That's an if that can or cannot be, depending on what it is. My default answer is no. But is it possible to work within that? Sure, it is. But I got to have lots of clear communication. I got to talk to him first. I got to make sure we're all on the same page. It's going to require more effort from me. And now I'm going to charge the customer more. And I'm not saying I'm going to like charge them, thousands and thousands of dollars more. But if they want me to use their plumber because it's their uncle and they can get it done for free, right? I'm not 100% opposed to that, but my preference is no. However, if they can save $3,000 or $4,000, I can understand why they would want to do that. And I'm willing to at least entertain that, but I got to have the conversation first. Because, my plumber that I use does things exactly the way I want them done, and I don't even have to babysit him. Like, I know that he's going to come in and do the thing the way I want it done. No babysitting. Come in, do one little once over. Everything's good. We're good. I bring a new person in who's never done anything. My plumber, he liked to use PEX whenever possible, but he would always stub out through copper. He would always use copper stub outs, which is what I requested. I don't give a crap if you use PEX in the crawl space, but anything that comes through the cabinet is going to be copper. Hire the next plumber, and he just runs PEX straight through the cabinet, and puts a freaking PEX connector on the end and calls it good. Well, I don't want that. But if I don't have that conversation with him, he comes out, does the finish work or whatever, and all of a sudden he's cutting holes in the cabinet. If that's the case, and screwing everything up. Like, I don't want that headache, right? But I can still have that conversation, and I'm going to charge appropriately for that. Just going back through the questions here. New to the channel, what kind of work we're talking about? Lou Dollar, we're talking about just construction in general, running a construction business, how to be profitable. Butter says, I do a lot of floor planning design, high level stuff just to get rough ideas. Yeah, but we are getting into interior design agreements now. Yeah, Butter's there. He's elevating his business, bringing on an interior designer to make his stuff even better. So as he's elevating his business, he's elevating his clientele, elevating the projects, which is the natural progression, right? Once you get to a certain level and you can have an in-house designer that's going to produce designs on every single job exactly the way you want it, like, it's hard to go away from that. And if someone's like, oh man, I really want you to do the work, but my daughter's a designer. She just graduated from design school and I really want to use her on this. Man, that is awesome. I'd love to see her designs and use it for inspiration, but I'm still going to have my designer do it, even if it looks identical to what your daughter did, and you're going to pay for that. like that's the position you need to have, right? If people are wanting to save, $500, $1,000, $3,000 on a 20, 50, $100,000 project, there's a little bit of some red flags there, right? Now, if they're like their budget's 20 grand and you're 25,000 for this project and 3 of that is for a design consultation and they're trying to save a few $1,000s here because it's really over their budget, you can't fault people for wanting to try and save money. Like, you can't get mad at them or think they're cheap or whatever. Like, some people just can't afford it, what you're charging. They want to hire you, they're trying to save money. Like, you can't get mad at people like that. You can be willing to work with people without justifying your pricing and without reducing the integrity of what you're doing, right? There's ways to work with people. Design control. I don't know what you mean on that, Philip. If I said something like that, it might have been a Freudian slip, or I'm not sure which. Did I say design control? My wife does our interior design. We're moving to more design build contracts. Oh, he's talking to Jeremy. Yeah, we implemented design control instant profit. I think Jeremy's talking about they do designs. He controls the designs, meaning he doesn't let them bring in a third party. Yeah. Jeremy Mayer. Who's Jeremy Mayer? We got all kinds of conversations going on there. Let's look here on TikTok. Mr. Raphael, I'm spending too much time on estimates. Any recommendations? I'm an electrician. I don't know if you just jumped on here, Raphael, but we just had a 20-minute conversation about not doing free estimates. Are you doing, Raphael, are you doing new home construction? Are you doing service work? Tell me exactly what you do, very detailed what you do. Don't give me the generic new homes. Like, tell me exactly what you do so I know exactly what you do instead of guessing. Yeah. Yes, you said yes. That doesn't help me at all. I'm not trying to pick on you or being mean to you. This happens all the time when I ask a question on the lives and people are like, what kind of work do you do? Residential. What kind of residential? Carpentry. What kind of carpentry? Rough carpentry, finished carpentry, new or new or remodel. Yes. I'm like, fuck, just tell me exactly what you do. Give me the details, guys. Come on, give it to me. Don't hold back. By the way, that's what effective communication looks like. This is a little twist in the story in the talk today. If you're always having to respond with multiple texts and multiple emails to vendors, to your employees, multiple phone calls, if you're always having 2 to 3 to 4 responses when you give instructions, it's because you're a terrible communicator. You're an absolutely terrible communicator. And here's why. Here's why you do it. I know why you do it. Oh man, I'm busy. I'm driving down the road. I'm at a stop sign. I'm talking to someone. I'm over here. I ain't got time. Yeah, just use the big one. Use the 2x4. Use this. Do that. Right. That's our response. Our employee response. Well, which one, boss? We got one that's an 8-foot or we got a 6-foot. Which one do we use? Use the 6-foot one. Okay. Well, is it treated or is it non-treated? The non-treated. Man, my guys are so freaking stupid. This stuff is so common sense. Why can't they understand what we're doing here? If that's you, if you've ever had those conversations, it's your fault, guys. It's your fault because you're a terrible communicator. All you have to do is say, hey, we're going to use the treated lumber, the 2x4 6-footer. It's going to go on the left side of the doorway, 4 inches from the outside wall, and butt it up to the east wall. We're going to use 3-inch framing screws to attach it to the OSB with glue underneath it. If you explain stuff like that, you won't have a response from your team saying, "Well, what do we do next?" Yeah, that's right, Butters. Raphael, Resi adding additional circuits in in an existing home is making holes. So, like, again, I'm still not fully understanding what you're talking about. You're just doing service work, so people are just calling you. They want to add an outlet in their family room, and you're running the new circuit and cutting holes, and that's all you do. You don't do anything else. Is that what I understand? What I'm saying? Yeah, Jeremy and Philip are having a conversation in Facebook. Raphael, I can't. I mean, but I'm trying to help you here, but I got to have specifics. So it, the way you stop doing free estimates is you just give them pricing over the phone. That's the way you do it. You don't need to go look at it to give them a price. Because I know that's what you're going to say next. You don't need to go look at stuff in person, guys, to give people a ballpark price to test their budget. The whole reason, the whole reason that we give pricing over the phone is just to get their budget. That's it. That's the whole reason. I want to know if I'm giving you a price on a $30,000 project and you're thinking it's only going to cost $10,000 and you only have at max $15,000 available, I'm wasting my time talking to you. I'm wasting my time going out to your house. If you only want the cheapest price and you don't give a crap about the quality, I'm wasting my time talking to you. That's the whole purpose of giving pricing over the phone. It's not to give them the exact detailed price of what stuff's going to cost. You don't have to go out to someone's house to look at it just to say to do a service panel swap on your house to upgrade from 60 to 100 amp is going to be somewhere between $5,000 and $2,500. I don't need to go look at it. I don't need to know if it's 100 feet from the road or 10 feet from the road, if it's in the garage or in the crawl space or whatever. All I got to do is give them worst case scenario, best case scenario. I mean, depending on how far away from the road you are, it could be anywhere from 10,000 down to 2,500, right? Like that's all you have to do. Oh my gosh, $2,500. I already got an estimate from somebody who could do it for 1,600. Man, I'd call them right away. You got somebody that can do your service panel for 1,600, all installed, brand new stuff. Freaking hire them right now. Like hang up for me and call them right now because that is the best deal you're ever going to get. And that's literally what I would tell them. Because I'm not out here trying to sell every single person that calls me. That's not the purpose of doing sales. It's not to get 100% close rate. It's not to have a 60% close rate. It's not to do work for every person that calls you. The purpose of sales is to match up the right people with the right price point that you have. That's it. It's a pre-qualification process. Sales is a pre-qualification process. All you need is a picture, Raphael. I mean, we do it with pictures all the time. Well, don't you need to come out and look at it? I will eventually, yeah. I mean, I will come out there. I want to come out there and look at it, but I don't need to come out there and look at it just to give you a ballpark price of what it's going to cost. I mean, wouldn't that be beneficial if I could just tell you right now on the phone call what you're looking at, right? Well, I mean, I guess so. Okay. Well, a typical 2-bedroom house or 3-bedroom house on this part of town, a lot of times they say, "Oh, I live over on this street," and you know exactly what the house looks like because it's a production home neighborhood, and there's only 2 floor plans in the entire neighborhood. There's a 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom, and every single one's the same. right? So just from the address exactly what you're dealing with. Oh, we did a house right around the corner 2 months ago, and I know exactly where you're at, and it that particular job costs $3,700 to do the service panel swap out. So you're looking at somewhere between 4,000 and 3,500 depending on a couple things. Is that in your budget? Oh man, that's way more than what we were thinking. We only got $1,500. Sorry, it's 4,000. It's 3,500. Like if we can't do, if you can't plan on 3,500, there's no reason for me to come out there and look at it. So that's all you got to do when you're doing your budgets. Now, when you're doing your what's Travis said, I had a good one with a guy the other day. Send me the cost and markup why you're expensive. We don't share that information. He hung up on me. Yeah, Travis. And I'm sure you're not losing sleep over that either. Now, guys, don't get me wrong here. Listen, if you're not getting enough leads, if you're really struggling to get work and you need money to run your business and take care of your family, like don't be stupid. You know what I mean? Like don't throw away a perfectly good job because someone doesn't want to give you $100 and they live 3 blocks away from you and you drive by there every day on your way home. Like don't be stupid, okay? But what I'm saying is your general disposition should be we don't do free estimates and we don't justify why we charge for them or we don't justify our pricing. It doesn't matter how much overhead I have. It doesn't matter how many employees I have. It doesn't matter if I use subcontractors or not. When you get that pushback from people, it's because people have put things in their brain or because they've watched TV and they put their own things in their brain. The good clients who that you want to do work for, they don't give a crap about how much your overhead is. They just want their problem solved and they want a reputable contractor that they don't have to babysit or worry about getting taken advantage of or worry about dust getting all over their house or worry about if you're going to show up every day like you say you're going to, right? The people that want that kind of experience, they don't give a crap about your overhead. All they want is a solution and can they afford you? That's it. If they want handyman price, then you have the wrong clients, Raphael. What state do you live in and what do you pay your lead contractor on that job? Who are you talking to? Bo Cream too? What do you pay your lead contractor on that job? What do you mean lead contractor? What do you mean by lead contractor? I'm not sure I'm not sure what you're asking me. Oh, I don't have my business anymore. I shut it down last year. I was paying my lead at the time when I shut it down, and he was a he wasn't the high quality lead. Let's put it that way. He was someone who was being trained as a lead, and I was paying him. What was I paying him? I think 22 an hour. I think I don't even remember. It was somewhere around there. He only had about 2 years experience. I live in Indiana too, by the way, and where I live is one of the lowest. It's one of the cheapest cost of living in the country. So our pay scale is a lot lower than a lot of places. If I was in New York, I'd probably have to pay like $40 an hour. Yeah, Butters is 38.7. He's in Maryland, or you're in Maryland. Yeah, if I was up in Maryland, it would be much higher. If I was hiring somebody today, it would be closer to 30, probably 35 an hour, or possibly even higher than that. Are you a lead guy, Bo Cream? If you're a lead guy in Maryland and you only get paid 26, yeah, you're being underpaid. Travis, he's in Reno. He'd probably fly you out there and hire you a lot, pay you a lot more. Yeah, man, if you're only getting 26 an hour, you're underpaid in Maryland. Forever Forum says my last guy was 28 in Northern Kentucky. Yeah. Um, yeah, Travis is trying to hire you. He said he'd pay you at least 30. Even in the Bay Area, 35 an hour seems cheap. If I was hiring a lead guy right now where I live, I would start them out at 30 bucks. Like start out if they didn't have a whole lot of experience. If they had a lot of experience and they were gonna basically be like a project manager, foreman, then I would have no problem paying them as much as 35 an hour. Yeah. See, a lot of you guys are just underpaid and don't even realize it. Oh, you're moving to Florida? Yeah, cool. It's interesting. I shut down so I could do coaching full time. This is where my passion is. This is where I want to do. So, so back to justification here. What I want you guys to take away from this is that when someone challenges you on your pricing, don't feel the need to justify why you charge that. Just be matter of fact, be confident, and just simply say, they say, $300 to do an estimate, like everyone else does free estimates. Yeah, and I don't even know how they can do it, to be honest with you. And then just shut your mouth and get their reaction. I used to do free estimates, and then I hired a coach, or this guy on TikTok told me to quit doing it. I'm not saying you should say that exactly, but you could simply say, I used to do free estimates, and then I realized how much money I was losing by doing free estimates for people that were never going to hire me in the first place. And if you say it like that, and those people were not planning on hiring you in the first place, they won't continue the conversation. If someone is just genuinely concerned because they don't understand, here's the other thing you got to realize, because contractors like to do free estimates, right? That's the norm. The norm is free estimates. Now all of a sudden you're not the norm. Everyone in your town does free estimates. They call you, you have a good reputation. They call you, yeah, we charge for it. What do you charge? Nobody else charges. What do you charge for? That doesn't mean that you just automatically, think that they're not going to pay you, right? It's just it's new to them. They don't understand. They're trying to make sense of it. That's not that's not the signal for you to justify why you do it. It's just simply, yeah, I used to do free estimates until I realized how much money I was losing doing work, doing estimates for people that were never going to hire me in the first place. I throw out different numbers. Some people like Travis, who's on here, Butters. I mean, he charges. What do you charge now for doing your designs, your consultations? Like $1,000, or you don't charge, do you? I think you're one of the exceptions. I've gotten onto him quite a bit about this, but he doesn't listen to me. Regardless of that, he does really well without charging. Um, $300 is just an idea. Yeah, Travis does 5,000 for a design, 0 for a site visit, which I don't think he should do that, but it's his business and it works for him. And he does heavy pre-qual. So his business model is he's going to pre-qualify you heavy over the phone, ask you a lot of questions, and as long as you're good to go, then he'll do a site visit for free, but he charges 5K for a design. Yeah, and he says I'm leaving with an agreement. I'm not leaving them with a bid in their hands. So Travis does. I mean, and this is the beauty of people that come and join the Profit Club, is that it's not you have to do it this exact way. It's I give you the fundamental stuff, and then you figure out what's going to work best for your business. I do recommend charging for consultations, but that doesn't mean you have to. As long as you're not wasting your time, then I don't really care if you do that. But as far as the $300, it really here's the formula that you need to figure it out by. How much time do you spend from the very first phone call until You either get the contract or they ghost you, right? Plus all your gas and all that stuff. And then how much is it worth your time? So, my minimum was $250, even if it was a very basic project, right? Depend on the severity of what you're doing. If somebody wants a room addition, an addition to their house, and you got to get actual floor plans, stamped engineered floor plans and all of this stuff, then that could be $1,500 to $3,000 or more, right? If I'm just coming out there and I'm going to be there for 30 minutes to take a few measurements and then give you a price, the minimum was $250. So it really fluctuates depending on what you do. Some people just have a minimum, a $1,500 minimum, whether it's a $100,000 job or a $10,000 job. It's $1,500. So you can do it however you want to, but generally the bigger the job, the more the down payment, or not down payment, the more the consultation fee. Yeah, some people charge X amount per $1,000. That's one way to do it. There's a guy that charges $3,000 for front and backyard design. Pretty crazy. Not really. It's not crazy, guys. The only thing crazy is doing free estimates. If you understand the value that you provide, then it's not crazy anymore. If you think about how much time you waste, however much time you think you spend on an estimate, you need to double that, because that's probably more accurate. You may think, oh, I only drive to their house and I only sit there and talk to them for 30 minutes and then drive back. That's only an hour. No, it's not. You got to put the estimate together. That's another hour. You talk to them on the phone. You got to call get material cost. You got to do all of these things that you're not factoring in. And it ends up being 2 to 3 hours for every estimate you do. It's not just how much time you're on site. How do you take the next leap? Me and my partner are not in the field. How do you take what? Me and my partner. I don't know what you mean there. Selfish. What would you do if you had a plan, contract, and all the customer went with a different person when came time? That's why you get the design consultation. If I do a design consultation, like Travis, he charges $5,000. One of my other clients charges $3,000. If I come out to your house and I meet with you and I give you an estimate and I do a design and I charge you $3,000, and then you say, "Hey, thanks, but we're going with someone else," like I still got paid. I'm not out money. I would have liked to have gotten the job? Yes, but I'm not at a loss. That's why you charge for doing consultations. At the very minimum, you should break even. If you really do it right, you should make a little bit of money if they decide not to go with you. But the whole purpose of doing a consultation is just to see how serious they are and to cover your time. Now, some people, um, like, there's a consultation to give them an estimate, and then there's actually a design, right? Just to meet with them without a design is X amount of money. If we do a design, that's X amount of money. Now, the way I did it, the very few times that I did a design, that was a fee that was not credited to the job. So if I charged you $500 to come to your house and meet with you, it's $500 for the consultation. If we move forward, then I credit the $500 to the final invoice. You get the money back. If I come to your house and it's $500 for the consultation and you want a design as well, depending on the severity of the design, it could be anywhere from $500 to $2,000. That money does not get credited back because that's an actual service. I'm actually offering you a service, which is designing it for you that you're going to keep, right? So that is a fee that they don't get credited back. Now, again, you can do it however you want. Some people, it's $3,000. It includes a fee and does not get credited. Some people, it's $1,000 for the consultation plus another $1,000 if you want to design. Nothing gets credited back. Some people it's $2,000 with the design and the full amount gets credited back. It's totally up to you how you want to do that. But it's completely customizable to what you want to do. The main thing is it has to be enough money to hurt. If somebody wants a $300,000 whole house remodel with room addition, and you're only going to charge them $100 to come out there, that's the same as doing it for free. If you're doing a $300,000 project, I mean, your minimum should be like $1,500. It should probably be closer to $3,000 to $5,000 because of the amount of work it's going to require you to do that. And as a percentage of the total cost of the project, it's nothing, right? On a $300,000 project, if someone's not willing to spend $3,000 to $5,000 to have a complete design done, stamped ready design, they can just move forward, then they're not really that serious about working with you. They're just collecting estimates. You show up to work, another company there with no warning or call or anything. Well, that's a totally different situation, man. If you, I mean, did you get a signed estimate? Did you get a signed estimate? Did you collect a deposit for the job? Did you get paid a consultation? See, there's the consultation for doing the estimate, and then you're going to collect a deposit to get the job started. Those are two different things. Well, I collected a 40% deposit no matter what the cost was. Doesn't matter if it was $2,000 or $200,000, 40% deposit to get started. You can eliminate all that stuff. Crazy as good. Crazy as good. That's pretty cool. No, I agree with you. Did you collect payment for the site visit estimate for you? Yes. That's good. Yeah, that makes sense. So last question, then I got to hop off here. I got a call here in 15 minutes. If you charge for the consultation, you should send them an invoice as soon as you get off the phone. Hey, John, how does that sound? Everything sounds great. We're ready to move forward. I got you down for Tuesday. Meet with you and your wife, Rebecca, at 3 p.m. to go over everything. As soon as I get off the call here, I'm going to send you an email with the invoice for the $500 consultation. Just go ahead and pay that. That way we don't have to, worry about it when I come out there. Or, hey, as soon as we get off the phone here, I will send you the invoice for the $500 consultation. Once you pay that, I will send you an email link to schedule the consultation. And then you can just pick a time that works best for you and Rebecca. Right? Or if you want to, I can take care of it right now over the phone. If you want to pay by credit card or debit card, I can just go ahead and take the payment right now. And then we can get the consultation scheduled. Or we can schedule it for next week. I just need to make sure that the consultation gets paid before. Otherwise, we won't, I'll have to reschedule and it may delay the start date on the job. I schedule it for next Friday. I send him the link when I get off the call. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday comes. There's no payment. I'm calling him on Thursday. I'm emailing him on Thursday. Hey, John, just wanted to touch base with you. We still have our call scheduled for tomorrow, but I haven't received payment for the consultation yet. I do need to collect that before we go out there. Were you planning on paying that this afternoon? Right? Don't hear back. They don't call. I call, text, email Friday morning. Hey, John, last time they reach out, I have not received payment yet. And if in order for us to continue our call this afternoon, I will need to get that here in the next hour. Otherwise, I'll have to cancel the appointment. So I'm not just going to take their word and just be like, oh, he said he was going to pay me. I'll just show up at this day and time and hopefully they'll pay me. No, don't do that. Collect the money up front. If they don't have a credit card, they can send a check in. And if it's somebody that you trust and you want to roll the dice, then you can go out there and you can collect the check, but you're going to collect the check or the cash when you get there, not after the consultation. Hey, John, nice to meet you. Rebecca, it's nice to meet you. John's talked a lot about you. Before we get going here, I just wanted to see if you guys had the payment for the consultation. Go ahead and get that now. Get that taken care of. Right? Like, you guys are too nice. I'm just going to say it. Most of you are too nice. Most of you are people pleasers. Most of you are still in employee mode. You think you're the employee to the customer, and you get walked all over all the time. If you don't want to get walked all over, like showing up to a job and they hire another contractor, then you have to stop acting like an employee. And that may hurt. That may piss you off. But that's the reality, is that most contractors still act like an employee and think it's your job to make the customer happy. It is not your job to make the customer happy. It is the same as providing a service and getting paid. This is a like kind exchange. They're offering you money, you're offering a service, you're on the same level. They're not above you, you're not above them. You collect payment, yeah. Scam. That's what my customers would think when you hear this pitch. Well, then you got shitty customers, double investments. You might have just got here double investments. You might have missed the entire meeting, this whole call. But if people say that, it's because you didn't do a good job of delivering it, or it's because you have the wrong customers. Guys, that's all it comes down to. If people don't want to pay a consultation, or they get upset, or they say you're ripping them off, or they say you're a scammer, it's only because of one of two things. Always, 100% of the time. You sucked at delivering the information, the charge. They aren't the right customer for you. That's it. It's always it. It's never anything else. Good questions, guys. Before I go, a couple things. I'm doing a free webinar Wednesday at 2:30 Central Standard Time with my podcast guest Mark Willis. He's a certified financial planner. He specializes in creative financing for the wealthy type people. So if you ever wonder how the wealthy, the top 1% of the world, how they use money to make money, he's basically going to share that with us. It's free to you guys, but you have to register. Okay. If you're on TikTok, go to my profile and then there's a link. Click that link. The very first thing, it says free training. All you got to do is click on that and register. It's open to anybody. There's no cost. I'm not selling anything. I'm just hosting Mark. Mark's a certified financial planner. He's been on my podcast twice, and he agreed to do this for my members, my audience, because it's very valuable of how you can use your own money to fund your own lifestyle that you want. Okay. It's what the wealthy use. That's free, but it starts on Wednesday. If you don't register for it, you won't get in. Okay. Just go in there and register. The second thing, if you're on TikTok, you wouldn't know this per se, but I am offering 90 days of free coaching and access to the Profit Club for one person. I'm doing you can call it a competition if you want, but basically you have to apply for this, and I'm going to select one business and offer them free coaching for 90 days and free access to my group that people pay thousands of dollars to be in. All you got to do is submit that application along with a 20 to 30-second video. Okay. That's also in my profile. If you're on TikTok, swipe left. It's the second button down. It says apply for the 90 days of coaching. That's completely optional. It is 100% free if I pick you. And, it's just going to be dependent upon your business and your situation. Jeremy says, I was trying to register for Zoom. Not sure. Sorry if you already covered that. Jeremy, it's not the events tab. There's a link in there that you have to go click and register. If you just simply said, I'm going to the free event in Facebook, you did not register for it. You have to click on that link and log into a Zoom registration login and register that way, or you will not be registered. Um, so that's what I want to tell you, guys. And and the deadline to submit for the free coaching is Wednesday at midnight. So all that information on TikTok is in my profile. Just go there and you can sign up. If you're on Facebook, it's all the information for that is in Facebook in the group. And if you're on my actual business page, or if you're watching on YouTube, there should be links available for that as well. All right. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I had to hop off here. I got a call with my coach, one of my business coaches that I have. I have two of them currently. I have a call with them in about 5 minutes. So remember, always invest in yourself, guys. Like I teach contractors how to do this, and I also have coaches for myself because I'm always trying to level up. And you should always be leveling up in your business. Always. You should never stop leveling up. More than happy to help you if that's something you want to do. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day and hope to see you on the call Tuesday.